Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Just in case anybody has joined, I again am Felicia Young. You are joining us for the BLOCS Communities of Practice today. We provide this communities of practice as a learning opportunity, as a networking opportunity, as a way to get to meet friends and other folks in the business who, we can bounce ideas off of and so on and so forth. So we are happy that you could join us today. We have Goodwill Industries here today to talk about a couple of things. For our practitioner spotlight, they have a new program that I think everybody needs to hear about, whether it's for you and your program or whether it's for somebody else that you know, friends, family, or network. So please listen, take notes. This, I believe it's called the Ignite program, but Roselle Hamilton is here from Goodwill, and she will talk about this new program, this new and exciting program. So I will hand it over to Roselle. Could you tell me if you can share your screen? You need to want to make sure that you have all capabilities. You're on mute, Roselle.
Can you see my screen? Okay, great. Hello, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Roselle Hamilton. I am the program manager for the Ignite program here at Goodwill. I have today with me one of the career coaches, Mr. Melvin Robards. He is the one who's in the field and making everything happen. You're going to find out he is very tenacious. So he kind of gets the job done. He doesn't hold back anything. So let's just kind of dive into today about our program. So first of all, our program is called Life Launch Ignite. And what is Ignite? Goodwill Industries of Kentucky was awarded a grant from the Department of Labor in July of 2020. And we were one of 4 sub-grantees that were able to offer this program. We work alongside of Atlanta, Muskegon, and Pittsburgh. And the great thing about that is that we're all in contact with each other to kind of gain more knowledge from each other. So it's not like we're over here doing our thing, but we're really partnering with other Goodwills to find out how this program is working for them and how they're able to launch it. The grant was established to foster a relationship between local Goodwills and local community colleges. So we are petitioned to serve 105 young adults ages 18 to 24 who are or who have been justice involved. And when we say justice involved, that doesn't mean that they have a charge. That even means that they have a pending charge. It could be a misdemeanor. It could even be for something such as a DUI. Within the last 2 years, we've had some that have had some things that have been like 5-6 years ago. This might not be something that we could possibly work with them on this grant, but we would be able to, of course, find someplace else here at Goodwill that would be able to help them meet their needs. The goal will be to provide employment opportunities while also giving them stackable credentials. So when we say stackable credentials, the goal is to actually have them enrolled in college at JCTC working on various certifications. At the same time, we're putting them in employment. So they will actually go to work, and then part of the day they will be going to school. So Melvin, I'm going to let you take over and talk about the pathways to our various certifications here.
Okay, so the pathway to the certifications begins with our soft skills program, which is a 3-day class we offer here at the Broadway location, which kind of goes over the basics that someone needs before they even consider employment or going back to school. It's just social skills and the importance of respect, teamwork, conflict resolution, and team building. So that's what we require before we begin any of the other courses or other curriculum offered at Goodwill. We follow that up with the sufficiency matrix, which is relatively new as it applies to our resource center, which will be a place for participants to come and kind of determine what their career path is and what would be the easiest way to reach their goal. So we'll have someone meet with them and develop a matrix that determines what their primary needs are and then what the best ways to achieve those goals. We will follow that up with the assessments needed to be a part of the program, which would be TABE testing and irons and kind of a career inventory. We also would offer resume workshops to go ahead and get them familiar with the proper way to build a resume and how to add to it. We offer the RISE program, which is a 2-week program where we connect them with the different community partners and resources available in the Louisville area. And they receive incentives for completing RISE. And that's been one of the biggest draws to it. You will receive a $300 stipend when you complete it. You would also receive a refurbished laptop when you complete the digital literacy portion, and a year-long membership to Planet Fitness. Among a few other things, there's food cards involved and rental assistance. We also offer a digital literacy portion for people outside that to kind of help you, because you never know where someone stands as far as their technological capabilities. You have some people who don't even know how to turn on the computer. So we have a digital literacy program that kind of starts with the ABCs, teach you how to type and turn on a computer and create an email, all the way up to Excel or Access, and helping to make sure that they are proficient in those areas. We would also be offering a customer service certification for participants who may decide to stay in the retail field, and a financial literacy course that would not only show you different key ways to budget your money, but would also connect you with a financial coach who can sit down with you one-on-one and kind of go over a budget and look at different ways to improve or repair your credit. Go to the next one, Rose.
So,
I'm sorry.
okay. So like I said, we are partnering with JCTC to do the educational portion. So we have various cohorts that we have. The first one that is going to start in March is construction. We have auto tech, information and technology, which is going to be your computer. We're also going to have culinary. And then in 2022, we'll be offering welding. So these are all going to be taught at JCTC. In addition to this, we also have a customer service track. And that is someone who really just wants to be in retail. They want to, work with people. And of course, since we're Goodwill, we have a customer service track where they'll be able to work here and also complete a certification that is going to be supported by JCTC, but is nationally recognized. So I just want to kind of talk about what exactly an earn and learn is. This is the opportunity for an individual to test drive a job to decide if it would be a good career choice. We understand the age group that we're working with. Sometimes they have encountered some roadblocks. sometimes, you know, we all want to do several different things, but we're not really sure what we want to do. So this is going to give them an opportunity to kind of see if this is really going to be a good fit. And at the same time, they're going to be able to earn an entry-level wage. The Earn and Learn benefits both the employee and the employer. The employee has a chance to gain valuable knowledge and work experience, and the employer has the opportunity to interact with the potential employee to determine if they are suitable for the company. I'm just a positive person, so I always think you have to speak things into existence. So for us, I'm going to say our employees, after they complete their certification, that the employers will keep them as employees. They will all have jobs. So the thing about this is once they finish the certification, they will receive a raise. So these jobs are going to come with benefits of insurance. What else is it, Melvin? Insurance, retirement, and of course the employment piece to itself. So our employer partnership, Goodwill and Ignite has partnered with several different employers in order to offer specific job trainings in line with obtainable national recognized credentials to allow flexible schedulings for class. Our first cohort is construction. They'll go to school during the week, and then they only have class one day a week, which is on Tuesday. But then Friday, JCTC is allowing them to go to work, and that is going to count as classroom time. And I think one of the best things about this is that, as I've said, I am very fortunate to have two very wonderful career coaches. They're going to be able to mentor these individuals from start to finish. So what that's going to look like is that the career coach will, of course, get them in programs that we have here, help them build that resume, make those connections, and then, of course, they're going to work with them to transition into going to work full-time and going to school. If they have any problems, any barriers along the way, they automatically know that they can get in contact with Melvin or Sam or even myself, because we want to help them to be able to transition and be able to handle that schedule. On top of that, there is a year follow-up. So if they have any needs outside of that year with us, we're still going to be there. We're still going to be checking in with them weekly, monthly, depending on the individual's needs. And right here, I've just kind of put down our contact. We have a wonderful administrative assistant, Ms. Kayla, and then we have Melvin and Sam, who are our career coach, and then I'm the program manager. Do we have any kind of questions as far as it pertains to Ignite so far?
I do. I have a question. So with the program, and of course they're going to school, what is the enrollment like? So is it like a cohort set program, or are you taking some in the spring also, or just in the fall, or what does enrollment look like?
So Melvin, do you want to take that question?
I can. So yes, it's set up in cohorts, with the first one being construction, and then that's followed by the automotive, and then the IT, I believe, then culinary, and then to round it all out would be the welding.
Okay, so they don't start at the same time, they start at different times?
Yeah, they start at different times. I discussed the pathways to it. So if you have people who are interested in their cohort may start later rather than sooner, we have sections of the program that they would still be eligible to keep them engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Gotcha.
So we are actually, like, construction starts in March. We're bringing individuals in now, and we're kind of going to talk about that a little bit later. There's different things that we do here, resources that we have within Goodwill that we're able to support them, such as the RISE program is something that he talked about, and to keep them engaged while we are preparing them to go to JCTC. We want to make sure that they kind of get used to a schedule, you know, before they're just kind of tossed off into going to work and going to school. So we kind of have a couple of things like a 3-week suitability time where we're able to engage them to kind of help them get ready for school.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Is this going to be available after the workshop? I would like to have more information on the eligibility, what the requirements are to be in the program. And I'm sorry, I was distracted for a moment when you all were doing that part. That's my fault. I had a call from a coworker. I'm sorry, but is that, so I don't want you to go back over that part. Can I access that
Yes.
at a later time?
Yes, if somehow, Ms. Young, if I can get some emails, I will send this out.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Or I can send it to Ms. Young and she can send it out.
Thank you. I usually send a follow-up to each of these sessions that includes the link to our YouTube page so that you can go back and look at all of this in its entirety, as well as any of the PowerPoints that are shared during this. I will absolutely get to you. It'll probably be Monday before I'll be able to get the YouTube video uploaded and the link, but early next week you should receive as a thank you for coming, and to please encourage all of your co-workers and colleagues to view the session as well. Are there any more questions for Roselle and Melvin?
Yeah, actually, I'm wondering if there is any type of upfront cost for the participants in this program.
Absolutely not. That's the great thing about this. As a matter of fact, me and Melvin are even trying to make sure we have study groups where they come in and study. We're going to give them gift cards to come so we can help them study. There's no cost for books. There's no cost. We're going to, you know, if they need help with transportation, that's what we want to be here for. We want to take all the barriers, all the excuses of why I couldn't go get that certification, why I couldn't go back to school. That's what we're here for, is to help to break down those barriers.
And if for some reason, if they do have a past due balance with JCTC, then we may be able to assist them with that as well to kind of get that cleared up.
Are there, do you know if there are any efforts in place in terms of like anti-oppression or anti-discrimination barriers that might be addressed? Specifically, the population that I work with are young queer folks, LGBTQ, mostly trans folks. And so when we think about, you know, those barriers to entering the job force, the labor force, or getting good jobs and that kind of thing, we see huge disparities with our, especially with our trans youth, not being able to get jobs because of their gender presentation during interviews and things like that. So I'm just wondering if there are mechanisms in place to help kind of relieve those types of barriers as well.
I want to say that is where we're going to build that relationship with the career coach. The thing with the employers that we have set in place is that we're going to be in constant communication with them. If there's problems that arise that we need to be notified so we can come in there and help to smooth that out. We most definitely don't want to put someone, first of all, in an uncomfortable situation. That's not what Goodwill is going to be behind. That's not who we are. For something like that to happen, honestly, would break my heart. So yes, we want to make sure that they are protected from that in any aspects, be it school or work.
Gotcha.
Are there any additional questions about this? Okay, all right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am going to do, I'm going to do two things. We have been talking to each of you all at different times, and we hear a lot. And we hear, you know, we want partnerships. We hear, we want to know what others are doing. We hear that we have a dynamic program, but I don't think kids know that we exist. Or they say things to the effect of, you know, by the time the kids get 12, they no longer come to our program. And so you all want to know, how can we re-engage? We were talking to the good folks at Goodwill, and we were talking about this issue. We were saying, you all are starting this brand spanking new project called Ignite. You're doing all of this recruitment. You're trying to re-engage. And so I said, it would make a whole lot of sense for you all to lead a conversation with the group about that. How do we re-engage not just opportunities, not those who were court involved, but how do we re-engage the 13-year-old who decided they didn't want to come, but we want them back? With the violence in the community and everything that's going on, we need to be grabbing every young person that we can find. And so the topic for today is re-engaging youth. How to re-engage. And so I asked Roselle, hey, would you continue the conversation about re-engaging youth? Can you talk to the folks about what you're doing? What are some of the things that you found really helpful in re-engaging? How are you using social media? How are you getting the word out? And so I thought that it would be great if they had that conversation with you. And so they're going to continue this conversation for the this first section. The practitioner was about Ignite. That's about that program, and we want you to tell folks far and wide about the Ignite program. Now we're going to shift to the topic piece, and it's about you all. So whether you work with middle schoolers, whether you work with high schoolers, whether you work with 6-year-olds, this next section is, how do you re-engage youth around your program, coming to your program, staying engaged with your program? And it's a conversation. So we do want everyone to talk and to be involved. We may do some small groups, but so instead of introducing you to a whole brand new person and speaker, we are going to continue the conversation with Roselle and Melvin. Does that
Just
work?
one thing really quick. Could everyone just put their name in the organization that they're with in the chat, please, before we start? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I completely forgot about that. Thank you, Antonio. Yes, name and organization you're representing. We give credit in our system, and we track who comes. After this, I said it before, but I'll repeat it. Next week, please look for an email from me with the YouTube link, with the PowerPoint presentation, and also with the survey. We want to know some of the things that you're thinking, what's on your mind, some of the topics you would like to hear about in future communities of practice. If you want to be a practitioner spotlight or a topic spotlight, this is a great time for you to stand up in that survey to say, I want to lead some additional work. All right, sorry about that. Roselle and Melvin, I'm handing it back over to you.
So I've been told I'm the old one in the group. I'm not doing well on the social media side. I kind of leave that to Melvin and everybody else. We've been talking about, there's so much out there, but we had a focus group that was really, we got a lot of knowledge from a lot of young individuals. I was, of course, thinking Facebook was going to be their platform they would choose. Does anybody know? Can anybody guess what they would rather work off of?
Instagram, TikTok.
Yes, Instagram, TikTok, and I think the majority was Snapchat, wasn't it, Melvin?
Right.
And to me, Snapchat is only good for what, 24 hours? So that's going to be a challenge. That's going to be a challenge to get out there and be constantly reposting and getting out there before that. But what I'm hoping to do once we start to have people in is possibly doing more of having them post up to their page from school and get the word out, taking pictures of their certifications showing, you know, I did this at Goodwill. We're at the moment of trying to figure out how we can actually buy some of the, what are they called? Not avatars, but screen things, you know, when they come on, I don't know. But anyway, like I said, I'm the old one in the group, so I'm just trying to maneuver through this. So that is going to be fun and exciting for us. I'm excited to try that because we understand we're dealing with a totally different age group. So I want to make sure that we are meeting them, you know, where they are. And apparently it's on Snapchat. So we're going to dive in here because when we were talking about engagement, we are going to do a lot of engaging them here at Goodwill. I'm going to share my screen again. Let's see. Can you see that? Okay. So we are currently, and the opening is going to be the end of this month, going to have a resource center here at Goodwill, which is going to be great for us because it's coming along at a time where we're going to be starting Ignite and all that will kind of work together. We're going to kind of go over different parts of it. And this is how we're going to keep our students engaged because each cohort, we want them to feel like they are part of a family. They have gone from walking in the door, and we all know that anytime you have to ask for help, that is like the hardest part of anything you do. But I also want them to know we appreciate what they're doing and we don't take it for granted. I feel every day it's a privilege to work with anybody who walks through the doors of Goodwill because they didn't have to. And then to come in and share with me, that is even a bigger blessing. So we will start with kind of talking about the things that we're going to be offering here in our resource center because part of Ignite, they will have access to all of this. Melvin, you want to kind of start talking about the community partners?
Yeah, so I'm sure I'm not muted. So our resource center, I said, is something that's really new for us. And so what it will require a membership, not a paid membership, not anything that's going to cost you, just something that to where you would sign up and show that, you know, you really have some ambition as far as wanting to identify or attend the different trainings or even have the assistance of one of our own site peer support specialists to help you apply for a job and identify which fields you want to go into. To help with that direction, sometimes we will have different community partners come in and speak as to what services they offer or how to connect with them. So that's something that's going to be ever evolving and rotating. So just on a week-to-week basis, we'll have different partners on site here in the building who will be able to assist with signing up for their services and just a chance for some really good networking. Let me go on about for the rest of them, Rose.
Yeah, so like one of the community partners that we're excited to have is like, I know if you've ever at work had someone in a crisis, instead of having to take them out for mental health, we're going to have someone on site to be, where they can go and actually talk to someone and maybe start making those connections here on staff. I think the last time we talked, it was going to be like Shawnee Healthcare, where we're going to have them here, and can't think of the other one, but they will be able to actually have that person here on site. Go ahead.
We'll also have our different financial literacy classes offered by a partner of ours, Uprising, who will also have or give the participants the opportunity to connect with a financial coach who can sit down with you and go over a plan and kind of help you with identifying your shortfalls when it comes to budgeting, and to help you set goals and set realistic goals and create a plan with small steps on how to reach a goal. And, if you fall off track, and come in and talk to them, and they can help to redirect you. Also, our resume workshops, which we discussed earlier, where you can come in and we go over the importance of a updated resume. And we discuss the different ways and different apps out and websites that help to create the resume. So we go over different ways of creating them, the different types of resumes, which one may be best suited for you depending on work history and the job you're applying for. And if you're still having trouble with it, like I said, we have that on-site peer support specialist who's able to sit down with you and help you to create that perfect resume. As things change and you gain more certifications and more skills, we'll always have it saved here on file where you can come in and update it. If you, for instance, lose access to the passwords or the email that you saved it in, we'll be able to bring it back up and make those changes for you. Because we know people change emails like phone numbers now. So you can come in and we'll update those, as well as legal aid, which has been a big one. I don't know, we do offer monthly expungement clinics where participants can come in and meet with legal aid to identify if they have charges that are expungible and what that process looks like. A lot of times that is also at no cost to the participant. It's something that Goodwill pays for. And, we have people who have had charges for a long time and may not even know that they are expungible. So the expungement clinic is a good chance to sit down and get that information. So whether it affects you or someone else you may know, you can kind of take that information with you and pass it along.
So for us, we are able to keep them engaged. One of the biggest things is, like we said, we have the resources here that we work on, but also we have been working on trying to pull together ways to be able to help them as far as giving them gift cards for completion. Not just like money, but like actual like gift cards for food and hygiene products. So we have a program that we're going to be doing first called Good Start, which is going to help them, of course, to do some of the resume workshops and some of the financial literacy. But upon completion, they will receive a stipend. We just have to be real about it, is that a lot of times what we figured out is those monetary things are nuggets that helps to get them pulled in. And what we found out with RISE, well, once a person completes that 2-week cohort there of RISE, there's a $300 stipend. A lot of times we know coming through the door, that's what they came for. Let's just be honest, they came for the $300. But by the end of RISE, they have learned that there's so much more, and they have wanted to commit to being a part of Goodwill. So we have various stipends that we do with different cohorts that have helped to keep people on task of doing things. think that was the last one. Let me stop sharing that. Melvin, did we miss anything?
Don't think so. The only thing I think we may not have discussed is that upon completion of RISE, they will be assigned a career coach who can help them not just with employment, but with any other kind of crisis that they may be going through as far as housing or transportation. We offer another program here, it's called Cars to Work, for participants who may not have the credit to be able to purchase a car from a traditional buy here, pay here car lot. So after sending them through our financial literacy class, and we have a few other requirements, like they have to have a savings account and so many months of employment, but we are able to help place them in a used car from Oxmoor Toyota, regardless of their credit standing. And the purpose of the program is to help them rebuild credit. So we purposely report to all 3 credit bureaus, and throughout the process, the financial coach is helping them with the steps to take to improve their financial standing. Even with the cars, it's only a liability insurance required. They go through a 13 and 14 point inspection from Oxmoor Toyota. So they're nicer vehicles. And a lot of times it's a game changer as far as employment for people. Able to get, different jobs that are further away that put you in a better position in life.
Let me jump in real quick, Melvin. Sorry about that. A couple of things came to mind when you just said that, and maybe I missed it. All right, so when we think about this program that you talked about for the cars, is that a Goodwill overall program, or is that still related to the age of 18 to 24?
No, that's an overall program.
Overall program. Okay.
So a lot of our programs are intertwined that way. Like the ones with the program, everything can operate as a separate entity as well. Like RISE is its own, Cars to Work is its own, but we try to connect them and make it easier to complete the prerequisites by participating in one program, if that makes sense.
Okay, let me say this. All right, so for the folks on the call, Melvin wasn't on our initial conversation, so thank you, Melvin, for all of that. I'm gonna make a connection for the folks on the call to Goodwill as we talk about engagement, how to get youth engaged and to stay engaged, because all of you all, of course, don't have the funding that Goodwill has from this national grant from the Labor Department. So, but a connection is, I hear people say, oh, the parent can't bring the child doesn't have transportation, the teen doesn't have transportation. Transportation is a barrier for a lot of our programs. Most of our programs don't have their own transportation to go get kids and to bring them, and because of the financial piece of it. But listen, you can recommend this program from Goodwill to your families who don't have reliable transportation. Whether they have a car that really only goes around the 4-block radius because, it's an older car, or whether they don't have a car at all. You can recommend this Goodwill program to your families.
Right. And the thing about, let me also throw in there, it's not just about getting that car, because we understand that we're helping them to repair their credit also. So they're going to get that financial literacy portion of it also. So while we say it's about getting a car, we all know if you don't have the right credit, it's going to hold you back in getting so many other things. So we also want to help them to repair that credit.
So as an engagement kind of technique or idea, this is absolutely a great thing. The second thing is, I think, Roselle, you talked about how you contacted churches or how you recruited. So we need to talk about recruitment as for how folks can engage. I want to talk about
So I was just reading his comment over here. So what we have been doing, the coaches and I, we have been going to various shelters and stuff, and we've been inviting them in and doing focus groups. And we say focus groups, this is just really a kind of a time to kind of talk to them, tell them what's going on, and give them an opportunity to kind of talk back with us and tell us, you know, what they feel would work. And that is also how we are doing some of our recruiting. It's just by having those conversations. We have people here who have their own stories to tell from when, you know, maybe they had mishaps, you know, when they were younger. So they come in and have just live conversations with these individuals. And from there, that is opening them up to have an opportunity to want to take part in our program. And another thing is I have been just trying to reach out to churches. I just think for me, like I said, I'm from Alabama, way back in the South. You know, it is one of those things where when grandma heard something was going on, you know, she came back and told the grandson on the couch, get off the couch, go down the street. I heard they got this program down there. So word of mouth is so important, but we have to be mindful of just trying to get the word out. And a lot of times our churches are not the people that we think would want to pass the word around, but they really do. They really want to get the word out because they're going to be the first ones who found out little Johnny that was singing in the choir got arrested yesterday, because they're going to call the pastor. So that is another way. And then, of course, we have been just honestly, and it's really been hard. I think all of you know it's really been hard through COVID of just being boots on the ground. Melvin is going to barbershops and trying to put in flyers, and Sam is making phone calls, just calling places consistently. And like for our construction cohort, we have 15 seats, which doesn't sound like a lot. We were really worried that we'd have a hard time filling it up. I'm at that point where I'm worried that we might have too many. So it really has just been getting out there and finding new ways. Even Goodwill on our Facebook platform has just been really good about blasting a lot of Ignite stuff, saying that we're here and we're doing that. But Melvin, don't you think probably the focus group is going to be the biggest thing? Making the connection, I think, also with Department of Corrections, making those community partnerships.
Yeah, it definitely was a big help. But as it relates to engagement, I think one of our biggest pros has been, I guess, one of Goodwill's core values that, you know, once you are able to move up and you're more successful, that you reach back and help someone else. So the fact that we offer so many different programs that people have completed successfully and been able to put themselves in a better position in life, they are oftentimes excited to be able to reach back and let other people who they know
Bring somebody back.
know about the programs. So if you may, like I said, talking about the car program, you may come in for the car program and qualify and you have gotten a vehicle, but while you're here, everything's kind of cross-promoted. So you've gotten wind of Ignite. So you are anxious to reach out and let other people know that the programs are available. So, I mean, so many of our people are referrals from past participants that I think that's been our biggest pro as far as engagement, just success stories and people wanting to let other people know what I was offered, because there's so many people, they think Goodwill just is retail. You know, we sell used clothes, and that's what, even before I started working, that's all I knew it for, was used clothes. So as people learn about those programs, they are excited to reach out and let other people know about them as well.
And I'll chime in. So there is another, I guess, aspect that I've noticed about all of the programs that you all have talked about, and that is incentives. it seems like every program that you have has some type of incentive, a part of it. And I feel like when we are working with youth, you know, incentives is a huge aspect as far as recruitment, because like you said, they're coming for that $300, but in the process, they're gaining all of these things in the process. So could you all just talk about like how do you come up with the incentives, or what is the process that you have for coming up with the incentives that you have for each program?
Yeah, Rose. Well, a lot of ours, we are fortunate to be able to back them with our retail program, which allows for a lot of the incentives. And then others have been parts of grants that we have been able to sustain because of partnerships with different companies in the community. Like we started initially, we had another program that was similar, but for an older age group, and just our boots on the ground and actually getting out and going and meeting with different companies. It really surprised me how they were anxious to be able to offer that financial support, some of the bigger companies, because whether we like to admit it or not, the people who are, especially the youth, you coming out with this criminal background and you may be unable to find employment, that is going to have an effect on everyone. It's going to have an effect on you as a neighbor, as a business owner, just everybody in the community. So some of the larger companies, like we had partnerships with Kroger and with Planet Fitness, they were just really anxious to be able to offer their financial support, which allowed for some of the incentives. As far as determining what those incentives are, that is probably a question for you, Rose, above me.
Yeah, I think that, and sometimes the incentives aren't even financial. As he said, I think one of the big pieces that we offer is the gym membership. And that was, once again, that's a partnership. I've also worked with people that, they give us, even though we are, a store, we have people that want to help dress people. So we have a partnership with Dress for Success. So I think there's just other things out there. Sometimes they're just not financial incentives. Sometimes they're other things that, we have to dig deep and think of, like the laptop,
And
I've seen somebody had their hand raised. I'm sorry.
It's Destiny. Go ahead.
I apologize. I think it's interesting that when we talk about incentives, when I think about our program, just being in an elementary school and being like, being able to be present, because right now we're completely virtual. Incentives has become one of those things where it's very difficult. It's a very difficult thing to figure out what incentives we can even offer our youth right now, with trying to reduce contact. And then, every family has like a different need. Every child has a different need. It's so difficult to figure out what incentives they would even grab their attention right now, other than if it's financial, or if it's some type of monetary, if it's a gift card or something like that. It's difficult to figure out what, as an incentive with younger children during this time, we can even offer. I struggle with that quite a bit, just trying to figure out, other than just giving them gift cards, what can we really offer them?
I get it.
Some of my staff are on here too, and I think we would all agree at times we've tried to brainstorm about incentives, and it's just like, I think sometimes we draw blanks sometimes. It's just very difficult. So I
think for now we've had to.
Yeah, any suggestions? I'm just listening to what everybody's saying, and I think it's interesting that you all said they initially come for some type of monetary or financial incentive, but then in the process they gain all of these other things. And I think I would love to fit that in our program somehow, to kind of just grab their attention. But then once they get reeled in, they find out that they have all of this other access to information and access to skills that they can pick up from us.
Couple
Yeah,
things.
and I go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. A couple things come to mind, Destiny, that I've seen other folks do. Nobody's on here today from Global Game Changers, but one of the hooks for Global Game Changers that you think wouldn't be a hook, but it is, they give those badges. So little kids love badges. They love you giving them something that shows that they've achieved something. And so for them, they want to move along the process because they don't want their friends to have a different badge and they don't have it. So everybody moves along. So that's something, and we can definitely get you in contact with Ann at Global Game Changers to chat with her about, I'm not saying still what they do, but badges and those kind of things are for anybody, right? But she can tell you more about that. The second thing that comes to mind is I was taking my son to the allergy doctor, which is right beside,
It's okay.
I think it's called Altitude, the jumping place. And people were actually jumping, right? So it might be if a kid has come to the program for a full month, all of them, it won't happen to all of them. But if they're 10, you were under that guideline and they can jump, right? Or maybe it's 2 months. They have to be consistent for 2 months, whatever that looks like. But jumping, they have their own square. They can still wear masks. They can still socially distant. It's still open. All of those kind of things may be an option based on your organization. But sometimes it's not necessarily gift cards, but it's an opportunity for them to be out of the house, maybe, for them to have some fun, maybe, for them to, or maybe the third thing that I thought of when you said that, STEAM Exchange does these, those kits, right? So after you've done whatever you require them to do, maybe they get one of those fun learning kits for their home or something. I don't know, but those were my initial thoughts, but yeah.
And I'll add also, so incentivizing what you need is also a good way to do that. So when I was at the Boys and Girls Club, we needed to recruit kids. And so one way that we got that was to include the kids in that. So we incentivized the youth who were coming. If they were able to bring a friend or bring someone, like, let's say like 5 people, then you would get this, and we just increased it. It was like a tiered thing. So the more you bring, the more incentivized that you are, but that also helps us on our side because we also needed the numbers as well. So, and sometimes not incentivizing each and every child, but sometimes it's like you can put it all in one pot. So if you bring in like 10 kids, you'll be in a drawing, to get like a Kentucky Kingdom Pass or something like that, to save on the funds, not incentivizing every single child who brings someone there, So that's one thing that that helped with us.
Does anybody else have some suggestions for Destiny? Or does anybody have some cool things that they've done that they want to share? This is interactive, it's networking. Please jump in so that we can all have ideas for our toolkit.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, the best way to know what somebody needs is to ask them. And so if you have a database of youth that you're already serving or that you have worked with in the past, you can do a focus group or even just send out a survey and, ask them, given that times are rough right now, given your particular interest and passions, what would be a cool gift for you? Is it money? Is it food? Is it, some other necessity that they need for school or a sport that they play in or something like that? And also, like, what are those joyful gifts that we can give them or that we can offer to them during this really hard time, right? We all need some more fun and joy in our lives. And so if you can think about, first solicit those responses, that'll help guide you in terms of like the categories of things that you incentives that you would be looking for in order to, acquire or give out if you already have them. Yeah, that would just be my main suggestion. That's something that I'm trying to figure out with my youth right now as well.
And I'm just going to piggyback on what you said. That's exactly what's worked well for us. We had those focus groups, we had those conversations, and surprisingly, they didn't ask for gift cards. They, once again, 18 to 24-year-olds, the ladies asked for something that they could use for daycare. Daycare was an issue for them. And most of the guys were looking for some form of transportation, which they didn't know they were going to get that anyway. So sometimes because you think that would be a good thing for them, doesn't always mean, like she said, that's really what they really need.
I'm loving all of these suggestions. Very, very helpful. I'm over at Youth Build, and so I love the idea of the practicality of the gifts, right? I mean, it doesn't have to always be monetary. It could be something that is, a celebration as well. Something where you are celebrating, you're throwing a party. And then also, I just let my students know too, because we're working at Youth Build with 18 to 24 students. I let them know, hey, we are, we're working hard, to get this work done. I'm going to be writing you a letter of recommendation. All of us have the opportunity to speak on your behalf about who you are, what you have to contribute to another organization, to a job, to a school. We can speak on your qualities. And, that's a celebration within itself. You have somebody who can speak on who you are, and that will get that, that will allow you to earn that money that you really, that you want, just by having that opportunity to speak on somebody's behalf. So just thinking about, I know that there are immediate needs that need to be touched on. And I love the idea of having, like, maybe doing a survey to see, what are the needs of the students, and what would they like to see done? Do we want to play a game? Do you need a gas card? Do you need free TARC tickets? There's so many ways that we can fill those needs, and we can just ask them. So I think that'll really help us to kind of see exactly what they would want. Needs assessment.
Keep a couple things in mind when we think about Destiny. Destiny, are you still over at Engelhard?
Yes, I was just going to speak to that. So our dilemma is it's unique in a sense because of we're not working with an 18 to 24, or we're not even working with a 15 to 16. It's 3rd through 5th grade. And so it's that very fine line of being very, very, very young and then kind of coming into your own before middle school. And so a lot of the needs that we meet are related to the kids, but also directly related to their families as well. And so trying to find a happy medium in between that can be quite difficult right now, especially with the pandemic, because what the kids need is not necessarily what the families or the parents may think is a need, and vice versa. It seems like I have an idea of what our kids need because I have access to everything about them, but I may not know exactly behind closed doors what the need is for the family, if that makes sense.
Yes, and I love that. I was speaking in regards to the writing the recommendations for the older group, those who work with the older.
I like that idea because some of our parents need that.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too, because I write books too. So I mean, donations of books and any form of donations. A lot of times, the teachers can come together if they have different items, different toys. Then I do know that the badges do really, really help. That was an incentive that I had when I was growing up, and they just make you feel like you've done something special. It's a really great award, reward for what you've done, whether it's community service or academic. I mean, badges have always worked across a lot of different organizations. So I do highly recommend that. But also thinking about like how to, get donations maybe. and starting, maybe start, I don't know, like I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head, but I'm just thinking of donations, and I know the families may not have a lot, but maybe some of the teachers could donate some things, and we could reach out to community partners. I think would be great too.
Yeah, I was going to say, Destiny, in response to that, when we think about those younger kids, they're so dependent upon their families and what's going on. And so the more that we can, everybody could use some extra cash. Everybody could use some extra Kroger money, grocery money, right? So if you're thinking about those incentives, maybe you create a package for each child where there's like a gift card to a grocery store, a gas card, or one of those like preloaded credit cards. So you're covering those basic needs of the family, but then you also have a book or a game, or both, something educational, something fun and exciting for that young person, just to like make them feel special and give them something to do.
One thing I did notice, and we were talking about this in our breakout session with Antonio and another, I can't see her, I can't see everybody on my screen, but there was another lady in our group, and I said, the responsibility for education has moved from being very teacher dependent to like a community responsibility now. And it's interesting that when I talk to parents, I don't know if everybody knows about like the NTI hubs. We were talking about the NTI hubs. They have become like Antonio said, mini schools. And I know tons of parents who could take advantage of it. They just don't have the transportation because of the demographic or the area that they are in, or there's not one in their community. And so I'm wondering if maybe kind of some of the ideas you all have tossed around was like gas cards or some type of transportation. I keep tons of bus tickets, and I've never thought to ask parents like, hey, do you need that to kind of get your kid from A to B or get you from A to B? And that's something that's very inexpensive. And I believe we can find money, or grants allows us to kind of make some changes to purchase those kind of things. Yeah, so I all of that into consideration, and thank you guys.
All right. We're headed to about 11:15. This conversation is wonderful. We have about 15 minutes left in the session. So engagement. We have some great ideas. I've been taking notes. I don't even have a program, but I am taking notes on what I can recommend for other folks when they call, because they will call. And so because we're the ones on the call in competition, like I said, with the funding meeting, but people need this information. People want to know about incentives. They want to know how to get these kids engaged. They want to know, a kid shows up for the first couple times, you don't see him anymore, and you're like, whatever happened to Johnny, right? And sometimes we take it personally when it may not even be personal. The uncle was willing to give Johnny a ride for the first 2 visits, but now nobody has a car, or, mom can't, whatever the case may be. And so, I wanted to just kind of chat about how are we engaging these youth, right? So Snapchat is this big thing. Is anybody using Snapchat to engage? Is anybody engaging through Instagram, or are folks going to Google Meets and having their sessions, or how are people engaging their youth in this time of COVID?
Felicia, this is Rose. We've been doing Zoom. We started with Zoom. Now we're doing Google Meets, and it works really well. We're doing that because we're doing the entrepreneurship program, and so they're able to put work in. We're able to see their budgets, everything that they're doing. So now we're kind of on a platform for our entrepreneurship program, Google Meet. So that's been working. I don't do the TikTok, Roselle. I'm kind of like you, so I need to get with the program. But so I'm trying to get my granddaughters and them to kind of help me, my grandchildren, with maybe the TikTok and the Snapchat. and make them responsible, you know, get a youth leader to help them to be responsible to put content out there for their peers and stuff. So, but right now we're pretty much Zoom and Google Meets.
Rose, you just gave me a great idea. You're right. I should take the burden off of me, and I should give TikTok to Melvin and the younger one, so I don't have to do that. Thank you.
Young. I'm almost 40. I'm not young.
You know, we have, for me, I've been able to contact and keep in contact with people. I don't know if y'all are able to do that, but through Facebook, through Messenger. And then, of course, we're going to be using Zoom. Sometimes if we have to go back on a lockdown, we're going to have to use Zoom for a way for us to be able to talk and possibly do some of our focus groups. Because we're trying to make sure it is something that is going to connect to their phones.
That's whenever somebody says that they're in person, Roselle, when you said if we have to go back on lockdown, keeping in mind we are all youth development professionals, right? And so some programs are virtual, some programs are in person, and I am an advocate for a hybrid if you can. Even if you're in person, please have a Zoom that's plugging into the meeting for a couple reasons. I have a son here who's on the high risk list twice. He's an insulin dependent diabetic, he's 21, as well as he's had lung surgery. So he has chronic lung disease. He can't come out and hang out with folks at their program. Even if he wanted to, he just can't. So that we're not exclusionary, we want to make sure that, because he's not the only kid, he had his lung surgery at 3. So he went through his entire academic career with all of these kinds of things. And so when somebody else got a cold, he get pneumonia. And so, you know, he's had pneumonia 5 times, hospitalized, whole 9 yards. And so I say that just to remind people when we're engaging folks, and if you say, oh, our program is in person, just remember that there could be somebody who needs to come or wants to come, but they're not physically able to come. So however we can be inclusive, please remember that as part of your engagement strategy. All right, I try and make sure that everybody knows that or reminds everybody of that. What else? How else can we engage? Where do we find, I had this conversation Tuesday with our operations team. Somebody was talking about they were gonna have focus groups. And so I said, who gets the invitation to your focus group? And they said, oh, the people that we engage with now. And so you're going to get a very narrow set of answers if it's the folks you engage with now. So how do you find those outliers who could really make your program the very best it could be? If, you know, so we don't read the newspaper really anymore, but where can we find these folks at? Where can we engage the outliers? Where do we find them? One of the, especially for the 18 to 24, one of them was going to the disability center of a college, or for high school students, it was going to the Friskies, or going to the school counselor, or even going to the nurse, going to the folks who have a ready list of people who might fit whatever you're looking for. For elementary school, it's probably going to be that FRC or that, somebody like that. But where else are you finding these kids? Or where else can we find kids? Have you had an idea and you just want to bounce it off of us for where we can find them?
So I guess for us, we have kind of gone through, I can't think, is it Dismiss and what's the other partner we've been talking to, Melvin? Brady Center. We've just gone to different organizations and what I'm trying to do, what I hope to do is, because, you know, a lot of times they don't get to have these activities. So our focus group is great for them because that's an opportunity for them to get to come out and do some extra stuff. So I'm trying to do it with the different, like Brady Center, Dismiss, what's some other places that we're.
St. Anne's. That's another, I guess,
Yeah.
it's kind of a, I guess, unfortunate thing that we are able to connect with a lot of the youth due to their justice involvement. And unfortunate in the sense that so many young people already have criminal backgrounds, but I guess it helps because they are kind of prone, and while they're waiting at these different halfway houses and institutions, then that gives us a better chance to connect with them while they are still open to receiving the information before they kind of get back out into society and back around their peers. And then, you know, any kind of, I guess, programs that involve going to work kind of looked at, you know, as being not the thing to do right now, or anything that involves going to school. So especially when they're around people who are kind of in the same mindset. So catching them while they are open to change has been a good thing as well.
I think BOA is also been a good connect for us. You know, those individuals a lot of times don't have, you know, especially when COVID hit, they didn't have the resources to get out and make those connections. So those are just some of the few that we've used so far.
Thank you. One of the things, as we, you know, conclude for today, I'm appreciative of everybody being here. I'm appreciative of Roselle and Melvin sharing all of this great information. Sandra, I saw you unmute. Were you going to say something? Oh, maybe not. All right. All right. I just want to be sure. We meet the second Thursday of each month. And so we'll come back together again in February. But I want this to be a time of networking. I hope in your small groups you met somebody, or as we, you know, the names and organizations are in the chat. Anybody you think that you may want to partner with, thinking about Roselle and Melvin, right? Their program is pretty much 18 to 24, but I'm sure they come in contact with folks younger than that. So they may be calling on, you know, one of you all at some point and say, hey, do you have room in your organization? We're going to send you over, you know, some people who, you know, came to us, but they haven't met the age criteria yet. So I hope that we all have an opportunity to meet and to network and to partner. Feel free to reach out to one another in between the month. Last month, I had a phone call directly after the meeting, and somebody said, hey, Felicia, I was in the group with this person. I need her number. I need her email address or her number. I want to reach out to her. What she said in our small groups, we just got to chat. And so I made the connection. They're putting together some sort of program together. And so magic really can happen when we open ourselves up to other people. And, you know, we all are in this work. We all want to see the very best for the young folks in our community, and we can do it together. Can we do it individually? Yeah. But can we do it as a partnership and all that? Yeah, it's even going to be bigger and better. So, all right, so let me ask you this. Is all hearts clear? All minds clear? Is there anything anybody else wants to share, tell about, talk about for the good of the cause before we close up for today?
Yes, really quick. I would love to actually there could be an opportunity where we can connect with some of the youth that we're working with across the organizations and maybe use one of our virtual sessions to do that. I think that would be really awesome. And then they could talk about their experiences, and it could be from the mouth of the students, from their voices.
That's an awesome idea. That's an awesome idea. Next month, we're going to come together. The entire session is going to be on networking. we're going to network amongst ourselves. We're going to chat, we're going to meet, we're going to go in small groups and chat with this group. I'm going to call it speed dating. And then we're going to go to I want us to make sure that we chat. And maybe the following month we can really, or maybe somebody can come together and say, you know what, I want to take this on, Tatiana. I want to take this on. I'm going to partner with these folks. We're going to put together a youth session. Y'all need to hear from the youth in our community. So Tati, if you're volunteering to be a part of that leadership group, I'm going, you know, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I can help.
That is a great idea. All right, I'm with you. And I think that's a great idea. Next week or next month is for us grown-ups. We gonna network, but we are going to bring the youth in. We need to hear from them as we're planning, because we plan for them, right? But really, we need to plan with them. We need to hear from them, know what they want, know what they need, know what they desire, all of those kind of things. Roselle?
I just want to say thank you for having me in Melvin today. This has been a great opportunity. We've loved the conversation, learned a lot from everyone. So thank you again for having us.
Excellent. Thank you all for coming. I am going to ask Roselle and Melvin to do me a favor, because I'm going to be sending out the PowerPoint. Since Roselle's sending it to me anyway, can you send me all of these programs? You listed them, but like the RISE and the more information, because I think people on the call, now that they've heard it and now that they know that it's happening, they can share with their networks and their parents, and we can get some folks looped into Goodwill. So if you can just, you know, share some, instead of more information about, you know, the programs at Goodwill, so that we can plug our families in, that would be helpful. All right. All right. Well, thank you all. I'm excited. I'm appreciative. You are, you know, I'm so excited that you all came. So I will see you next month. Put it on your calendar so that you can join me again next month. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me. Don't hesitate to email me. I'm always available for you.